Today we're going to learn about the 4 different shading techniques. We're going to do 2 today and 2 tomorrow. Today I want to do the blending and the stippling. And if you'll look here, this was done, it's got 3 different, it was done in pen and ink, so it's got the 3 different shading techniques. This is stippling right here, you can see where it's got all of the dots. Okay, and then tomorrow I'm going to show you the hatching and the cross hatching. This right here is hatching. It's got parallel lines to give value. And then up here in the bricks you'll see that it's got cross hatching because you have both vertical and horizontal lines that are parallel to each other. And then also perpendicular. And then all of this is stippling here too. Okay, yes?
Would that be blending?
No, it's not really blending because it's all a bunch of different lines.
It kind of looks like cross-hatching.
Yes, it is. It's exactly what it is. It's cross-hatching, where you've got both vertical and horizontal lines to create value. The closer the lines are together, the more value, the darker the value. The farther away they are, like this hatching right here, then the less of value. Okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to do what is the blending here. We're going to do the blending. You've got 4 different shapes, 4 different techniques of blending, and you've got 3 shapes. So one of the shapes is going to be used twice. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to show you blending with a circle to make it a sphere, to give it some form, one of our elements. And then you can pick for the stippling if you want to do a cube, a cone, or another circle and make it look like a sphere to give it form. All right? So these are the 2 we're going to do today, the blending and the stippling. So what you're going to do, we're going to use one of Cole's little containers that he brought. Fabulous. Thank you, Cole. And what you can do is there's also more of these the containers up above the sink that you can also use. I'm going to go to a different sheet so we can, that one's gotten kind of messy. Okay, so here we're just going to go ahead and go around our form. Make sure I get it all the way around. I kind of missed a couple of spots over here. There you go. Now we got ourselves basically a circle. Or you could use the lid too. All right? Thank you, Cole, for bringing those. Okay, when you start to do this blending, what you need to do first is you need to figure out where your light source is coming from. As you can see on these pieces of paper, the light source is coming from over here. This one, the light source is coming down like this. Why is that? Why do I know? How do I know that the light source is coming from here and on this one is coming from the side? How do I know that? Yes?
Because where the light is, it shows where, like, if it's going down, it's in the middle, if it's on the side.
Okay, all right. So the light source is here. That means that everything closest to the light source is going to be the lightest. Everything farthest from the light source is going to be the darkest. Okay, does that make sense? All right. Okay, so we've got here, I'm going to say my light source is coming from this direction. If that's the case, this is going to be the lightest up here, and this is going to be the darkest back here, correct? Okay, so this is the way I do it. I always work from dark to light. I always like to not go too dark too quick, because then you end up erasing it, because if you go really, really dark to begin with, then it's really difficult to bring it out, if that makes sense. So what I do is I just start off, and when you start your shading, you go with the contour of your shape. So my shape is a circle, so my contour is like this, okay? Keep your lines going like this. If you go outside of your shape, no big deal. We just erase it. But you're better going outside of your shape than not getting up to the edge of it. Because if you don't go to the edge of it, then your shape stops. And it's abrupt to stop, and it doesn't work because it's got to be the darkest as it goes farthest away. Okay, so we're going to go like this. I've always held my pencil like this. This is the way I was taught, so that's what I do. You can try it if you like. Sometimes it's kind of awkward to get started.
Ms. Bernie,
Yes.
do you have to have that pencil or a red one?
No, Yeah, you can get a regular pencil. Hand me my pencil off of my desk. There's a pencil there that somebody used earlier today. I'll show you. But a mechanical pencil does not work very well with a blending. If you need a regular pencil, let me know. I'll get you one, okay? But you'll be able to do the mechanical pencil
Stippling?
tomorrow. Yeah, you can do the mechanical pencil for the stippling and also for the hatching and the cross hatching. Thank you. Okay? You see how I'm just taking my time? I'm not in any hurry, because you get in a hurry and you start leaving stuff. Like what will happen, like if you go like this and then you go up here, you see this is not good because this is darker than what's behind it. And in actuality, what's behind it is supposed to be the darkest, correct? Because it's the farthest away. When it gets closer, it needs to be lighter. So, okay, so I made a mistake. So I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to fill all this in, and I'm going to make it darker behind it, which means I start adding pressure onto the pencil, like that, you see? I need to sharpen my pencil. My lead's getting kind of skinny up there. But you see what I've done is I've gone ahead and gotten rid of that light behind there. Try and make all of these values blend together. That's why they call this blending. Because you don't want any harsh lines. You want it to go from one value to the next. I got something underneath here. I wonder why it's bumping up. You see that? You see where I've got this? I don't know where that's coming from. It's something underneath there that's causing that. I gotta go back in here and I gotta make this a little bit darker. And you're also gonna find too that if you wrote on the page above it, you're gonna find indents in your shape, like letters or even the animal that you drew last week might show up. See how I'm trying to get this lighter? And you just keep going back and forth and back and forth. Add a little bit more value. If I need to, I start taking off value. I try to stay with the shape, the contour of my shape. Then I bring this all the way up. Now I'm going to start adding a little more value up here. Then I'll come back. Look, there's something underneath here that's causing that line up the middle of my...
It looks like a pencil.
It might be. Might have been something underneath there that made it an indent. You see that? Look, it's going to come all the way up on us.
What's that? Oh, wait, no, that's leaf.
I pressed some flowers, but that's not
see
it.
them?
Well, they're that leaf right there. The other ones I already took out. You see how this has got a dark line right there? We need to get rid of that too. I go back in and I add a little more darkness if I need it. But can you start to see it taking on some form? Mm-hmm. Do you see that? And this is what I want you guys to do today. I want you to work on your circle. I've got some handouts for you. There, do you see how that's starting to take on some form? Mm-hmm. And then you just come back in here. Since I went outside my line, like I told you, I want you to go all the way to the edge of your shape, so that your shape starts to look three-dimensional. And then you just erase all of your lines that, you know, all the value that got outside of the shape. It's no big deal, right? Okay? So that's what you need to do today, is you need to work on your shading and then on your stippling. And the stippling, you know what, I'll just do a real quick, let's make a real quick cone, okay?
Cone.
A cone. And I'm going to give it, instead of it being a triangle, we're going to make it look like it's going to, like a cone. So you just give it the arched edge down there. Okay, once again, let's just do our light source coming from here. So if the light source is over here, where's the darkest, the most value? On the other side, good. Okay, so what you're going to do is you've got to make sure that you do just dots like this. What's going to happen is your hand's going to start getting tired, so you might have to just stop, shake it a little bit, talk, take some time out, and then go back to doing it. Because what happens is when your hand starts to get tired, it starts going like this. It starts making dashes instead of dots. And stippling is dots, not dashes. So what you do is you do your dots, and you're going to have the most dots over here, farthest from the light source. And if you go outside of your shape, no big deal. You just go back and you will erase it. All right? No problems. So I'm going to have more dots over here, and then less dots as it gets closer to the light source. And they're going to be a little bit more sporadic and spread out, because that'll create less value. The more you have together, the more value. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are there any questions about blending or stippling? No? Okay. All right, I've got a handout here. I want everybody to take one. Keep this. Put it in your portfolio or your sketchbook. And let me put some over here. And tomorrow we're going to do the hatching and the cross hatching. All right, any questions? You're going to do this in your sketchbook? No? Okay, thanks.